Warning, warning, do not buy this book. It is not the right time. Or is it? The only way to find out is to stay tuned.
Right, stay tuned.
Welcome back, Gainers, to another incredible, exciting, fantastic episode of ComicGains. If you're new to the show, I'm Adam.
I'm Zach, and this is where do you go, Princess? Heroic has, pictures here, bow to respect, and there's Coco.
She's down here.
Wondering where Princess is too.
Yeah.
Where is she?
We have a special episode for you guys. Today is Monday. We got a brand new drop list. And the guys are flying solo today. Princess is out and about. I think she got invited to a con in Pittsburgh to enjoy the fruits of a con. And but you get to hang out with Adam and Zach. And today is an extra special drop list. This is probably one of my favorite drop lists we've done in a while. Mm-hmm. Has some really cool books to think about. And we're gonna get an expert opinion on a pretty major book people are talking about. Zach will let you know, is it the right time to buy this book or is it not? And if you're asking yourself right now, what the heck is the drop list? Well, the drop list is something we do every week. We get together, usually there's 4 of us, including Coco. She makes a lot of the decisions around here. And yeah, we take trending lists, hot lists, any kind of list we can find from 1 year ago, and we figure out which of those books have lowered down in price. And we kind of figure out a reason why they were hot a year ago, why they might not be now, and maybe if you should even think about picking them up because it's such a good deal, or maybe it should just go away and be forgotten about, which that happens quite a bit. And at the end of the show, Zach will give you his expert slab opinion, which of these books you should pick up right now in a slab form. And yeah, that's pretty much the show. It's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting.
I'm so excited all the
You
time.
know what else is really exciting? Taking this drink, because we got to get fired up.
We got some Owen, 35 grams of plant protein, 0 sugar. It's chocolate.
Owen.
It says it's elite, pro elite.
You're going to drink some Owen?
Yeah, but I got this at the grocery outlet, bargain market. So how elite can it be? We'll find out in just a moment. As soon as I get this little thing off. Oh my god, no wonder.
Don't forget to shake it.
Apparently, it's low quality plastic.
Why?
Because that took forever.
Are you eating the plastic?
The double seal.
The plants need the double seal.
Double seal approval, but not.
How much protein?
30 grams.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's solid. 30 grams is pretty solid. Normally it's like under 30.
It's actually not too bad. It's
for
not
plant
too bad.
protein?
Yeah, for plant protein, it's not too bad. I crushed it at the gym. I need the protein to recover from that.
There you go. There you go. And you know what else you don't need a recovery from is hanging out with us every Saturday on Whatnot, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We have a show this weekend. Come hang out with us. Princess will be back for the Wednesday live show, so come hang out with us on Wednesday as well. And yeah, she'll have her show back up and running with tons of new games. Heard a lot of Silver Age starting at $1, so you might want to check out the Princess show.
Yeah, it starts at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Zach and Adam. First round. Second round, you got the second helping of Double Duty. We're in the background, but Princess is in the front at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We got some crazy stuff going up. The polls are going to be amazing for the Princess's part. We got our own polls, but single polls. Princess polls will be Silver Age, so you don't want to miss this one. Don't do it. No,
all right.
Don't miss it.
Let's get back to the comics, guys. This is what we all came for. The drop list. Ooh, we're almost to the end of the year, too, so only a couple more drop lists for 2023. So you might want to sure you get all these under your belt. Let's start it off. I knew this is what it was going to be. Number 5 on the list, we got The Last of Us, American Dreams, number 1. This came out in 2013. And that's a pretty long title. It's a really long title. I wonder what are the American Dreams? What that has to do with anything?
You're dreaming about America back in the good old days, but now it's the end of days. What's it called? What's it called? It's like
I don't know.
I almost called it the Holocaust.
No,
that's something different.
Not it.
That's something different.
But this is a Dark Horse comic, guys, and it is done by Julian Totino Tedesco. I don't think I've said those names on there before. And Neil Druckerman put this book together.
Post-apocalyptic. There you go.
There you go.
Oh, that's cool. There's a good set of people working on that book, right?
I've never said their names before.
I know about them. I guess.
All right, and if you didn't know what this book was all about, or why there's so much hype going on with this book, it is a prequel comic series to the video game that came out, and it actually came out 2 months before the video game. So they released the comic book so you could kind of read what was going to happen, and it directly led into the storyline of the video game. Well, last year, we all got blessed with the HBO putting out The Last of Us TV show, which blew my mind. Really good. And to be honest with you, I don't think any of us in the house ever played the video game. But from what I hear, it's very, very similar. Almost a lot of the scene for scene is very similar to the TV show, to the video game. So it's kind of cool. Take that as you will. I feel like sometimes people are like, they copy it too much, so it doesn't feel good. And then sometimes when they're like, it copies exactly, then it does feel good. So I don't really know what the right answer is there. You know what I mean? Because if you already know exactly what's going to happen, are you really surprised? But the people that play the video game seem to love the show. I love the show just because it's done really, really well. Pedro Pascal killing it again. Bella Ramsey, new breakout star. Though we did see her in Game of Thrones, she's killing it in this show as well. And it's really nice to see Anna Torv come back, who I love from the Fringe TV show.
Oh.
If you guys ever watch Fringe, awesome, awesome. Cool thing also about this book as well, it was not purchased very much. It is limited to only 6,032 copies that were made, so it's very, very low print run. And it's just hard to say. This book has been expensive for a while. The show came out, basically got more expensive every episode. The book went higher and higher and higher, and then we kind of figured as soon as the show would go over, it would drop down a little bit. I thought it was going to drop more than this, and it's kind of hard to say when this book is the right time to buy. Zach will kind of give you a more update on that, but things to be on the lookout for. There is a second and third print version of this book. They're both cheaper than the first print. So the first print's the one you want to look for. There's also a Christina Strain mini comic that was actually put into the video games. They have a Ellie and Joel edition of the video games, and that one is the moneymaker. That's actually more than the first print, and it's a mini comic. So keep an eye out for that mini. Just a little guy. All right, hit him with the numbers. Is it the right time?
It was American Dream a year ago. For The Last of Us, American Dream #1 in 9.8, it was 1,300. Now it has flatlined a little bit. It's not as good as it once was, but it's good once as it ever was. That's a song. That's a love song. No, it's not. It's $1,075. Range $1,075 to $2,000 is the highest it's ever sold in a year. In a year period. Average sale is 1,437, 17% drop. There's 372 total graded, only 95 of them are 9.8s. That's about 26% of total graded. So that's a little bit higher than we want for the percentage of total graded, but there's only 95 9.8, so you have to consider that. So that's probably helping it quite a bit. I think this book right here, combination of the limited print run and how few 9.8s are, and that's touching on another side of the collector's market, which is the gaming market.
Oh, that's a big market.
Yeah, it's what's really bringing this book up in value. How long will that last? That's a good question. This could be one of those books, just like The Walking Dead #1, that's going to be like always coveted. It's a third of the price of Walking Dead #1, so that might be a good indication that it could be a big book. Right now, I would try to find it out in the wild. I guarantee you probably can find this. It might not be the first print, but all the other prints are worth money too, as far as I know, with like exception for one of them. You can find this. It's like I said, it's only 6,000, but some areas are more picked. Got more copies than others. So if you're in the lucky area, you might be able to find it in a dollar bid. And you're like, score.
The lucky area. That's a place I've been trying to find for a really long time. The lucky area.
Well, here's the thing. What I'm trying to say about that, just to be totally clear, is some areas order way more than others. Of that 6,000, probably 1,000 or 1,500 went to this one state. And you're probably going to be able to find it much easier. Kind of like anything that's, Albedo stuff. Not Albedo. Usagi Yojimbo, because it was right in Washington, if I remember. Fantagraphics. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to find more Fantagraphics in Washington than anywhere else. This is what I'm saying. So listen. Listen.
Side note as well, too, guys. If you're one of those people that want to watch the show as it's coming out and look at the comic at the same time, now might be a good time to buy it because it's definitely cheaper than it was. But as all things go, eventually the show will end, and I would almost guarantee you that the book will be cheaper once the show is over. Depending on how many seasons that is, if it's like 3 seasons, 4 seasons, 5 seasons. Once it's over, it'll be cheaper. Although it might not be fresh in your mind at that time that you really love the show and you want to get that #1 issue, but could always wait, you know. You always could wait. And this kind of book, I think, will go down in price after the show is completely over.
Probably.
Yeah, unless they come up with another game. All right, that was a long one. #4 on the list, guys. We're talking Incredible Hulk, issue 271, 1982. Al Milgrom, Bill Manilow. This is the second appearance and first cover of Rocket Raccoon. And if you want to know what his true first appearance is, it's in Marvel Previews issue #7. This beautiful magazine with who on the cover, Zach?
Satana.
Yeah, Satana, not Zatanna.
Satana. I said Satana.
You had it right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were accusing
I wasn't
me of saying
correcting
that.
you.
I was like, hey, don't you correct
See,
me.
without Princess here to kind of wrangle this in, you might run into some arguing a little bit.
Yeah.
That's how it goes around here,
I'm
guys.
wrong all the time.
Well, very cool book, interesting book too. There's also quite a few other first appearances, which I think kind of got a boost because of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. You have first appearance of Lila the Otter, you have Walrus, and you also have Blackjack O'Hare. All 3 first appearances that show up in this book as well. And if between like the Guardians movie and the true telling of Rocket Raccoon, it's a little bit different. So he's actually like a genetically engineered raccoon from a place called Half World. And he actually is the captain of his own ship called the Rack and Ruin, which is interesting because, you know, in the movie I kept saying like, I'm the real captain and you're the real. They're kind of arguing over who's. He actually started out as a captain, and those the characters, you know, like Lila and Walrus were all part of his crew, and they basically went on these adventures in Half World and saved a bunch of people. That's why they had that mini series and everything that was going on, and then eventually later on he was added into the Guardians group. But he was kind of doing like his own thing. Didn't have much to do with the High Evolutionary unless they like retconned that later that I'm unaware of. But nonetheless, really, really cool book. I think it's kind of fun that this one is much more expensive than Star-Lord's first real comic book appearance, which is surprising that book is like really cheap, you know? Considering his true first appearance in Marvel Preview magazine is also very expensive, but Rocket Raccoon's comic book one is not that much cheaper off than his magazine appearance, which is cool and interesting. And, you know, last year we got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It's probably, although I like a lot of other Marvel movies that have come out, it's probably the last really good Marvel movie we've had. So it's kind of something to hold on to. A lot of good stuff. Bradley Cooper killing it as Rocket, as always. And, you know, we have some talk that the Guardians could come back in Guardians Volume 4. It's hard to say. We did get to see the new team at the end of the credit screen, which was Rocket. You have Warlock, Groot, Cosmo, and Kraglin. It's an interesting team that could still pull it together. And side note, this book does come in a Mark Jeweler, so something to look out for. I feel like you don't run into this book very often, though, out in the wild. I've seen very few in my time.
I've seen some. More than some. Anyways, I'm joking. Actually, I found one at the liquidation shop one time. That was the best place. They changed ownerships and they went to crap. Anyways, it's closed now because they went to crap. Alright. It was Rocket Fantastic Super Stellar a year ago for a CGC 9.8. It was $1,100. Now it's $874. Range is $775 to $1,250. Average sale is 1,048. It's a 21% drop. There's 4,884 of them total graded. 453 of them are 9.8. So that's about 9% of total graded. That's really good. First in-story comics, never as almost never expensive as its actual first appearance, even if it's not inside of the actual regular run. You always want their original first appearance, and not prototype, original first appearance always. I would say that this is close second. It's a lovely cover, great Hulk looking, great Rocket Raccoon looking cover. It's iconic. You see it from a distance, you recognize it. It's one of those iconic kind of slightly weird covers. I would say this is a great book, probably to, I would say, get raw, and then, of course, like I've always been saying, if you want to make this book special, get it signed and get graded. You want at least a 9.4, ideally 9.6 and up, if you can get for this book. I think it has a good potential run coming up. I think they're going to form another movie or TV show around Rocket Raccoon, and I think he's going to be in the Marvel Universe for a fairly long time. Because if you think about it really quickly, it's not that intense on the actor or actress if they're just doing voice acting. And they can do it remotely. You don't have to be on set. Don't have to be anyways. You can do it remotely. You can put in the work, whenever. If you get the lines right, send it to him. Oh, I like it. Oh, do another one. Do like 10, 15 of them. I would think it'd be super easy.
Yeah, he didn't even do the motion capture for the character.
No?
Yeah, which a lot of times they do. Like Mark Ruffalo did the motion capture for Hulk. But Bradley Cooper did not do the motion capture for Rocket.
I know it's probably not as easy as what I'm saying is, but it's definitely easier than what the regular actors are doing.
Well, you don't have to get in shape.
You don't have to get in shape.
Yeah,
I would think it's a good book to pick up in raw and signed condition if you want to get it graded 9.4 or better.
Yeah, guys, It's Disney we're talking about. If it worked, they're gonna beat it until it's a dead horse. They're gonna keep making these movies until they're not good. It's Disney. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna happen. They'll stop once it sucks. All right, guys. Number 3 on the list. We just made it the halfway mark. We got Fantastic Four 67, 1967. Interestingly enough, right? And Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, probably the greatest duo in comics ever. And this is, I believe, a repeat offender on the drop list. We have first cameo appearance of him plus the origin. And this is like an interesting character. When I went back and read it and kind of like wanted to get a better idea of like where Adam Warlock comes from, it's not quite as exciting as it is when he's like later on. So this basically group of super scientists, they call themselves the Enclave. They basically get together and they make like this giant think tank, and they're like, okay, we're gonna figure out like who's the best. Let's make the best human being there is, and we're gonna have like a cocoon, and we're gonna grow him, and he's gonna be the greatest human being. It's just kind of interesting that a bunch of dudes just got together and were able to like create like one of the strongest beings in all of the universe. They do a lot of kind of goofy stuff with the Fantastic Four leading up to this, but it's just interesting to think that a bunch of regular people made like this super powerful guy that can fight Thanos. As opposed to later on, he seems like such god level power. But anyways, just kind of interesting. But if you're asking yourself, Adam Warlock, him, all this stuff is super confusing, the cocoon, let's break it down a little bit for you. I know Zach loves it when we do the breakdown. So, if you're looking at it, we got Fantastic Four 66 is the actual origin of him. He's not in the comics. You actually get to see a little cameo in 67. And then there's also the second and third cameo, which is in Thor 136 and 134. A little less valuable. It's still cool books nonetheless. The money book you're looking for, the biggest money book over the Fantastic Four 67 is Thor 165, which is the first full appearance of him, which is a pretty amazing book. And the next one on the list will be Marvel Premiere #1, which is when he is named actual Warlock by the High Evolutionary. So kind of a little thing. There's quite a few stuff that goes on with him. And if you didn't know, once he becomes Warlock, he actually goes to the planet Counter Earth, which we got to see in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And he spends almost that entire series basically going on these missions and fighting with and helping the Counter Earth people. Which they are like those animal / people that the High Evolutionary created. And he's kind of like becomes like a space Jesus later on. It's only until Jim Starlin takes over the character does he like pull him into the rest of like the main Marvel universe where he starts going against Thanos. The early stuff is all him just fighting against those Counter Earth people.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting. And if you didn't see Guardians of the Galaxy 3 last year, which made this book hot, Will Poulter killed it. I think a lot of people were kind of like confused about why he was kind of like acted like a dumb child in the movie, but that's really kind of how Adam Warlock started out. He was kind of like this goofy person that would like show up, fight somebody, get his butt kicked, and then he'd like run back in that cocoon and like hide out until he like popped out of it again. and then he'd fight. Not until later on did he actually start to like take on a better personality. He's almost kind of like young Vision or something like that, like doesn't know what's going on. But we'll have to see. He's still alive. He was on the quote-unquote new Guardians team, although I don't know if in the comics he's ever... Well, I guess he's officially been a member of Guardians at one time or another. We will see. Think it's a good book, but Zach will give you the true numbers.
Yeah, a year ago, he had the powers of Gabriel the Archangel, and it was $1,009 for a CGC 9.0. Now, he has the powers of Chris Angel, a regular street magician, at $677 for a 9.0. Range 510 to 1009. Average sales 734. It's a 33% drop. A 9.8 has sold for $25K. Kind of ridiculous for this book. I think that's a little ridiculous.
You think that's too high?
Too high. Way too high.
For him?
Yep. I pay that for her, but no. There's 4,406 total graded. 14 of them are 9.8s. That's about 3% of total graded. This is a great book. You can get it somewhere above a mid-grade or higher. Higher the better if you can afford it. That's what I would try to do. At least 5.0, but 7.0 would be nice. If you can get in the 9s, put the scratch together, that's even better. It's going to have a long running kind of value. People love Adam Warlock, and they're going to continue loving him up until, I don't know, the end of the comic book, thing.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon. Yeah, I'd get this book. I'd get this book probably already graded, or if you can find a nice raw copy, consider that too.
Yeah.
Consider that too.
It's a cool book. I wish I had it. Remember, they did show Pip the Troll at the end of the Eternals, and they're also friends, so he could even just go completely into a different movie, which is what if they don't do Guardians Galaxy 4 right away, I suspect he'll be in somebody else's movie, just chilling. It's got to hang out Pip, right?
Yeah.
They got to kick it together. All right, number 2 on the list, and I thought this would be number 1, but it actually was number 2. We got Infinite Crisis, issue number 3. Thank you, Zach. You're doing such a good job. 2006, this came out. And Jim Lee, Jeff Johns, they killed it on this series. Looks amazing. And if you guys don't know what this book is, it is the first appearance of Jaime Reyes. He's a Mexican-American teenager who later becomes the 3rd Blue Beetle. In issue number 3, it is not in costume, so he has not become actual Blue Beetle into issue number 5. That's technically considered the better of the 2 keys, but we're talking about issue 3 today. And little cool story about Infinite Crisis. Obviously, DC has done a lot of crises over the years. Whenever quote unquote poop hits the fan, that they need to fix everything. They have a crisis and they try to redo it. Infinite Crisis is what actually led up to the New 52. So that's the series that kind of wipes everything clean and they restart over with New 52. And Blue Beetle kind of pops out of that one. And it's kind of interesting because the first Blue Beetle actually had magical powers with the Scarab. The second one was basically like a rich Batman version, Ted Kord, that didn't have any powers. And then they go back to the third one, actually has the Scarab again and has legit real powers. Pretty cool character. Well, last year we had the Blue Beetle movie came out, and Xolo Madeira, hopefully I said that right, cool name, Xolo, got to play Blue Beetle. We all got to see him. We became fans of him in Cobra Kai before this came out, which we love Cobra Kai. But take it how you will. They consider Blue Beetle a flop. Money-wise, I don't think it made the money that they hoped it was going to make. I think overall it was a good movie. Did really well. The main character was awesome. The family worked really well. They were funny. The villain was a little wanting, left for wanting, I would say. The only thing that kind of throws me off a little bit, I didn't realize it when I first watched it, but if you rewatch it, it's almost the identical storyline to Ant-Man, which is that good or bad? I don't know. Ant-Man's one of my favorite Marvel movies there is, so it's kind of funny that they almost copied it exactly. It strangely copies it exactly. But James Gunn liked it. I mean, he liked it enough that he's going to put Xolo back, keep him in the universe. We're going to see Blue Beetle again. My biggest thing with both of these books, 3 and 5, is that they were pretty expensive leading up to the movie. There was a lot of anticipation that these books were going to be expensive and stay expensive. And they are cheap as heck right now. Cheap. we have seen these raw copies go for like under $5. It's like, it's insane that they're that cheap, you know, considering that we're going to see him again. It's not like a dead character. So it's pretty crazy. Keep in mind, both copies have a George Perez variant of them. They're actually less sought after than the Jim Lee ones, but they're kind of nice if you want to collect the set. You got to get that set, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hit him with those blue numbers.
Oh, it was, you know, Egyptian Blue Beetle a year ago at $70 for a CTC 9.8. Now, it's just a regular old beetle crawling around.
A dung beetle?
Yeah, it's a dung beetle.
A dung beetle.
$32 for a 9.8. Range $21 to as high as $225 in a year period. Average sales $84. It's about a 54% drop. One little interesting thing, it randomly sells for highest amounts just out of nowhere. There was a sell very close to the last one that sold for $160 for a 9.8. So that's a pretty big difference. I don't know what
sometimes people will put like a fixed price, and the price, like Zach saying, will go a lot higher than when they go in auction. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
it's kind of weird. I mean, you gotta be careful, especially if you put things as an auction. But at the same time, usually in auctions you have it guaranteed that's gonna sell. Whereas at buy it nows, you might be sitting on for years, might be sitting on for a long time. All right, there's 865 total graded. 443 of them are 9.8, so there's a lot of 9.8s out. It's 51% of total graded. Ooh. So
that's a lot, actually. Yeah.
$32. Yeah, I'd buy it for
30. Yeah, that's crazy. $32 for 9.8. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
$32, 160, not so much. 32. Yeah, I think this is a bargain book. I think it's a bargain book. You can try it out, see what happens. No big deal. What's $32? That's like 2 lunches.
Yeah.
Around here, anyways.
I mean, people like Jaime a lot, so it's not like it's just a throwaway character, too. Like, he showed up in this. They immediately gave him his own book in the New 52, and just been, like, killing it ever since, running along. So he's just a fun character, a lot of good stuff going on. Family stuff's good, you know? Family's important, so it's nice when they pull it all together. All right, guys. You made it to the end. This is the Heartbreaker, the #1 drop book of the week, and it is, I believe, another repeat offender on the list. We have Thor 134. You're doing so good, Zach. You should just be the new Vanna White.
Bye.
Take over for it when you're tired.
Do it.
1966. We got a double Jack Kirby Stan Lee again, and this is first appearance of the High Evolutionary. There's also a couple other ones. His first appearance of Man Beast, who was made by the High Evolutionary. And yeah, we're talking Guardians of the Galaxy 3 again. Obviously, that movie came out. It shot up a lot of books. The movie was amazing. Obviously, it kind of brought an end to the quote-unquote trilogy, but we'll see if there's going to be a 4th one, and then it will no longer be a trilogy. What do they call it? Is it quadrilogy?
Well, there's a trilogy, then there's a cycle.
Do they call it a cycle?
Yeah, if it's more than 3 of them.
Oh, okay.
I think it's called a cycle.
You heard it here first. But, yeah. Just fantastic character overall. I think a lot of people like him in the comics. Jakudi Jawudi played him in the Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I'm pretty sure I got that right. And it was amazing. I mean, that's what we're looking for, people. Is we need a good villain in the movie, and he just brought a lot of like character, and his acting was like perfect. Just the way he was like sitting down while he's like talking to Rocket. He's not just some like, you know, stone like character just like talking like, I'm the all powerful knowing. He's like, you know, actually having real conversations. And I felt like his like power level was kind of strange, like in a way, like it was hard to tell how powerful he was. Obviously he had like a lot of technology stuff where he could like tap buttons and control things. Like he was like whooping on Adam Warlock, but then he gets his face scratched up by like a tiny little raccoon. You know, it's interesting. And like in the comics, he is technically like a mutant, or not a mutant, a human cyborg, like he's kind of made, but he did start out as a regular human born on Earth, so in Manchester. And in the comics, he's had a lot of run-ins with other characters. I mean, at one point, he went to school in Oxford and actually took a class from Mr. Sinister, Nathaniel Essex, and kind of that's what got him into genetics, so that could be cool. He also had a lot of stuff with Miles Warren, the Jackal, doing genetic stuff. He also did a lot of things with Jessica Drew's father. They were actually like partners for a while. Okay. And it has partially to do with her turning into Spider-Woman. And obviously a huge character with Adam Warlock and giving him like his final name, which I don't know, did they technically do that in Guardians 3? I know they called him Adam, but I don't think they called him Warlock yet, right?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So Amazing character. It's a heartbreaker that this book took such a huge drop for a character that did well in a great movie that we're probably going to see again. I'll tell you this. James Gunn did tweet out in May of 2023, just letting everybody know High Evolutionary is in prison in nowhere. So he's definitely still alive, definitely in prison. I mean, why would he do that unless he's like wants to see him again?
Yeah.
Thing. So I think a really cool book, awesome cover, but the only real way to know is to hear Zach's numbers.
All right. So it was evolutionary. It was prehistoric to now kind of levels of change. Good amounts.
Yeah.
For 9.2 it was 1,775. Now, you know what? Evolution has been debunked. It's at 737,000. But 737 for 9.2. Range 737 to 1,820 is the high. Average sale is 1,376. It's a 58% drop. A 9.8 has sold for $4,302. That's pretty interesting.
That's cheap, actually.
That's cheap
in comparison to First Him.
Yeah.
That's for nine. That's crazy.
Like 5 times more value. There's 1,776 total graded. There's only 7 9.8s. So again, much less than.
And there's only 7 9.8s.
Only 7.
And it's sold for $4,000.
Yep, it's less than 1% of total graded. I would say this is a fantastic book to buy now. Literally fantastic.
Not figuratively.
Not literally. No, actually, it's. Oh, it wasn't. I was thinking about something else. Anyways, it's almighty to buy right now. Anyways, yeah, I think this is a great book. I don't know. It's going to be one of those classic books that has a classic cover. It's one of those books that you will want to get, especially if you're a Thor fan. You want to get this book, acquire it before it gets more expensive in the future. I would say this is probably the second best book to get on the list.
Okay. You get a little double action there, guys.
Yeah, the bargain is obviously Infinite Crisis number 3. I would say probably the best one to get is FF67. You get him in the mix. And I think it's a really good cover. And it's part of the first family kind of series, first Marvel family kind of series. So that's going to always be a lot more desirable to have some of the original FF big keys. And that falls into line with one of the big keys in the FF run. Yeah, I would think FF67 would probably be the book you want to get. And then if you decide that you like High Evolutionary a little bit better, get that instead. I'm not going to be mad at it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that with all the issues going on with Kang and the actor, a lot of people wanted Marvel to kind of switch routes and like let High Evolutionary be the new big bad for the upcoming series. I don't think that's going to happen because I think they've already kind of swept that under the rug, but a lot of people wanted that to happen. So it's hard to say. It's a little bit of a heartbreaker, but that is the drop list for this week, guys. I can't wait for Last of Us to come back to HBO. I think they started filming again, so things are starting to pop up, but it's still on the drop list right now, so who knows. As usual, guys, if you like and love the show, do us a huge favor if you want the princess to come back. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell so you always know when new things are going down, because if you do, you might get to see her on Wednesday on the live show, and we'll maybe see what book she picked up at the con. And, Zach, you got anything extra?
Oh, you got to share how you do that. So you have to fly out to Egypt, to, I think it's Giza?
Giza? Pyramid of Giza.
The Pyramid of Giza?
Is Giza a place too?
Probably. Okay. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not good at geographic locations.
Horticology.
Send my geolocation. Let's do this. You gotta take a look at some mummies, not so hot mummies, and then after that, look at some hot mummies. And that's how you get those games.
Hot mummies.
The hot mummies.
Sometimes they can be preserved just right.
So they say. So they say.
All right, guys. Until we see you next time, stay safe and remember,
get those Egyptian mummy gains.
Get
every single one.